So, you use Claude or ChatGPT every day. You've heard of Claude Code, but every time you get close, something tells you you're not there yet. I looked at 11,352 of my prompts, so we can get you there today. I'm doing this in Claude. If you're on ChatGPT, step 1 is identical. I'll tell you where they separate. That's Claude Code finishing a job I set up once. It took what it needed, showed me the changes before they were made, then left a record I can verify. I'll show you how I got here, from the AI website you already know to the command line you've been avoiding. The important part isn't learning a different prompt. It's knowing how much authority and what information to hand over. Look familiar? This is the downloads folder. It's arguably everyone's messiest and most neglected folder, and for as long as I can remember, I don't maintain it either. Honestly, I don't know anyone else who does. The job is to tidy it up. The agent must not leave this folder, and before I call it finished, I want it to be verified. Let's start at the website, because right now I need a plan I can judge. I don't need an agent touching the folder yet. In the website, the chat model sees only what I deliberately give it. I want a useful plan, and that's it. Use only this listing. Give me the proposed folder structure and exact rename list. Do not invent file contents or hide anything you can't classify. Before you finalize, show me the plan and wait. After I approve it, return the finished manifest, the ambiguity list, and the checklist I can use to verify the folder. Those are the 5 decisions. It doesn't have to be those exact words. I told it what it may use, what finished means, what must not happen, when I need to review, and what it should give me as a result. This is useful for things like previewing what the actual work looks like and being able to see what you're getting into. If this were a one-time deal, I could potentially stop here and carry out the plan myself. Now you're thinking, can't the AI just do this for me? We expended the mental bandwidth to describe what we want, so why do we have to manually make every folder, rename every file, and check every result? I agree with you, but we have to go up a level to solve that issue. This is where it gets a bit heavy. Everything up to now has been a chat model. You hand it something, it hands you an answer. What comes next is an agent. Same engine underneath, but it can reach your files and finish the job itself. If you're on ChatGPT, this is where our paths separate. From here on, I'm on Claude's side of the fence. Here's the same job and the same 5 decisions. The difference now is that this app can act inside your actual files and folders. The first time I gave an agent this amount of access, it made me nervous. When I started using AI, the community discussion was always pointed at agents deleting entire code bases and even critical systems folders. When chat gives you a bad answer, it's annoying. An agent with this authority makes changes that have real consequences. So the first sentence does the most important work. Use only this connected folder. Start with a copy or a folder you can recover. Do not begin with your whole machine and do not begin with the only copy you care about. Sentences 2 and 3 you've already seen do their jobs. What finish looks like and what must never happen. The difference is that they're now aimed at the real files. The 4th turns trust into a control. Before you change, rename, or move anything, show me the proposed changes and wait. It got this one wrong. The agent is allowed to fail. Commitment happens after I see the proposed change, not before. And the 5th sentence leaves evidence. After I approve the plan, carry it out and return the change list and the files you left untouched. The sentences didn't get more advanced. The surface that we interact with gained the permission to act. For plenty of work, this is where you could stop. The folder is finished and every consequential step remained visible. Most demonstrations stop here. Let's do one more test. I made a correction while the agent was working, but the one correction doesn't automatically deserve a permanent rule. First, I have to check my own history for the same friction. If it happened again and again, the machine can propose the smallest change to a rule, skill, or check. If the evidence is weak, the machine waits. This is my system. My corpus remembers what I said. Decision memory preserves what I chose and why. The contract defines what the agent may do. Rules and skills preserve what repeated evidence has earned. And the taste layer is where I decide what survives. The folder was the work. The correction I made became evidence about how I work. Now the machine can compare that evidence with my history and propose a change to the system that runs the next job. That's what I call meta-tooling. Meta-prompting improves the plan. Meta-tooling improves the system that runs the plans. Watch this. It went ahead and stopped itself. That's the behavior I gave it a long time ago. It didn't decide that was dangerous. It matched a line in a file I meta-tooled. Nobody has that rule, because nobody else knows which of my files I can't afford to lose. Down in the app, it stops and asks too. There, the agent reviews each action and blocks what it judges to be unsafe. Here, it checked my list, my rules, and my preferred behaviors. Now, you can write a safety instruction into the app settings too, but an instruction is a sentence the agent reads and weighs every time, along with everything else you've told it. In the app, the agent decides how your rule applies. And when it asks, you are the safety system. Even if you had the discipline, which I personally find difficult, the possibility for human error still exists. Both of them will stop and ask. Only one of them lets you decide what it stops for, every single time. I went looking to plug in the tools I'd built. Cowork wants a web address. My tools are programs sitting on my drive. When your workflow gets sufficiently integrated with AI, you'll get caught off balance if something fundamentally changes. When Fable 5 was taken away, what I lost was the part that lived on their side. My personal tools survived and transferred over easily. If you want to build something that's still yours after the update or a change, it has to live somewhere you control. There's only one level where that's possible. Now, this is the intimidating part, the CLI, or command line interface. The important change is not the black terminal window. It's that the brief, the rule, and the workflow now live next to the task. The next session can read them without me carrying the context in again and again. This file contains my guardians. It's a list that me and my agent can read. When I change my mind about what's dangerous, I change this, and it applies to every job after that. It holds when I'm not watching and when I've forgotten. Note that when I say I change the file, I usually don't go in there myself. I have my agent run through a session of meta-tooling to see what we can change. It reads only the new batch. The same 5 decisions are still doing the work. Here's what I didn't do. I didn't retype the brief, explain the naming rule, or remind it about the correction I made earlier. It read the files that survived the last session. And that thing it just used? I built that. It isn't in a store, it can't be installed, and it only runs here, locally. One level down, that door was a web address. This is what getting serious looks like. Not more technical prompts. We have to have durable context, repeatable checks, and a result I can inspect without rebuilding the setup every single time. The terminal matters because the work is addressable here. The folder, instructions, tools, and evidence can live together. Coding is just one use for that, but it isn't limited. In fact, it opens the door to endless possibilities. There is one limit the next interface doesn't solve. The system can repeat the job. It can't decide whether the job is worth repeating. That decision stays mine because the judgment was never the technical part. You don't graduate from the website into the command line. When the current interface becomes the bottleneck, that's when it needs to change. Stay in the website when you need an answer or a plan. Open the desktop app when you want action on selected files. Move over to the command line when repeating the setup has become part of the job. You can also just skip the middleman. Skip the app and go straight to the CLI. I promise you, it isn't difficult. The whole install is one line you paste once. It's in the description. Through all three, the operating pattern stays the same. Bound the input, define finished, protect what matters, review before commitment, and leave a record. Those decisions survived every tool change in my history because none of them belongs to a tool. They belong to the person responsible for the work. If you're still intimidated by Claude Code, start one level lower. I put the exact 5-line brief below. Take one real mess, give the website only what it needs, and produce a plan you can mull over. When describing the work becomes harder than just doing it, you'll know why the next interface exists. Tell me in the comments which folder you'd point this at first. The messier, the better. Those are the jobs worth watching. And if you want more of these, one real job, start to finish, nothing staged, like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.